Hello dear students, welcome back to top lesson for you. I hope all of you are fine. Friends, as you know, we have started lectures regarding the human circulatory system and we have discussed about the branches of aorta, all the branches which arise from the aorta in the thoracic region, in the chest, in the aorta, from the branches which arise from the aortic arches. And the branches which arise from the descending thoracic aorta, the interior and the lateral or posterior branches, all we have discussed. Now let me discuss about those arteries which move towards the head, or which supply blood towards the head region, right? And as you know, friends, in the head region, let me draw here the diagram if I could. Right, this is for example your head. Okay, and here we have our aortic arch. Right, this is a very simplified diagram just to understand about the topic. From aortic arch there is the left subclavian artery, there is the left common carotid artery, and there is brachiocephalic artery. And from this brachiocephalic artery there is the right common carotid artery and the right subclavian artery. I have recorded lectures regarding all these branches. Now my aim is to discuss all those arteries in the human body which supply blood, the tissues or the organs with oxygenated blood, right? So we have to focus on the head region. Now in this lecture I have started discussing the arteries which supply the head region, right? Now in the head region we know that head region is divided into two parts. This is the cranium and this is the face, right? Face and posterior head, or skull we can say, or we can also say cranium, right? So face and cranium or head, this region is divided into face and cranium. Now those arteries which supply the blood to the head region, commonly I'm mentioning the arteries which supply the blood to the head region are these two arteries, and these are the common carotid arteries, right? So this one is the left common carotid artery, and friends, this one is the right common carotid artery. Clear, friends? Now look carefully what I'm saying. These arteries, both of them at a specific point divide into anterior and posterior branches, right? Anterior and posterior branch. The anterior branch is called the external carotid artery, right? This is called the external carotid artery. I will discuss about it. And this one, with this medial one, or you can say this posterior one is the internal carotid artery, right? This internal carotid artery leads to the supply, to the oxygenated supply of the brain, right, and of the cranium region. So this supplies the brain and other structures in the head. And this external carotid artery is responsible to supply blood to different viscera and different parts of the face and other things which are present here, right? And also to the organs of the neck region. Clear, friends? So our aim in this lecture is to discuss about this external carotid artery. Now I am starting lectures on the blood supply of the head. Friends, about internal carotid artery I have a separate lecture which is the blood supply of the brain. You can watch them in my lectures on regarding the blood supply of the nervous system of our brain. We have discussed about this artery. Now in this lecture we are starting about the discussion about the external carotid artery and all of its branches. So we mean that we are starting to discuss the blood supply of the organs of the neck and the face, right friends? Okay, let's start our lecture here. So external carotid artery, external carotid artery. Dear friends, external carotid artery is the chief artery which supplies the blood to face and to the organs or structures which are present in front of the neck, right? So I'm writing here that it is the chief artery, which supplies blood to structures in front of neck and face. Clear friends? So if someone asks what is external carotid artery, so it is the chief artery which supplies oxygenated blood to the structures which are present in front of the neck and face, right? So we can also say that external carotid artery is the artery which supplies blood to the facial region and those viscera which are present in facial region and those viscera which are present in front of the neck region, right friends? Very good. Now very little about the embryology of this artery, that this artery is formed by what? Little bit about its embryology. I'm not going in detail, right? But very little about the embryology of this external carotid artery. Friends, the aortic sac formation occurs in the 4th and 5th week of gestational period. I'm writing in points here. Aortic sac, I'm drawing the diagram, then you will understand. Aortic sac formation occurs in 4th and 5th week of gestational period. Right? Okay. The next important point, the aortic sac. Let me make here the diagram. For example, friends, this is our aortic sac. Right? This is the aortic sac. From this aortic sac, right, 6 branches arises, right? Okay, aortic sac gives off 6 branches, right? This is on the interior side. Now on the posterior side we have, friends, 2 aortae. During embryonic life there are 2 aortae, right? Now in an adult human there is only 1 aorta, but in gestational period or embryonic life there are 2 aortae present in the baby, right? Okay. Now look carefully what happens. Both of them combine like this. Now look, this is the aortic sac. Aortic sac. Right. From this aortic sac, 6 branches arises and they connect this aortic sac to these two aorti which are present on the right and left side, right? So this is the first branch, for example. This is the second branch, third branch, fourth, fifth, and the sixth branch, and all of them are present on the left side also, right? 5 and 6. 6 branches arise from this arch, from this aortic sac, and they connect to the aorti, or these are the aorta, right? Now listen carefully. In further development, one of them will remain and they will make one aorta. So we are not going to discuss the embryology of the aorta or the embryology of the heart or the embryology of these vessels. We want just to focus on this external carotid artery and the blood supply of the face and organs which are present in front of the neck, right? So how many branches arise from this aortic sac? 6 branches arise from this aortic sac. Now external carotid artery is developed, is formed by the third branch, right? So common carotid artery arises from this third branch on both sides. So third branch gives of common carotid arteries, right? Okay, now you know carefully, well, look, this common carotid artery arises from aortic arch, right? And this right common carotid artery arises from the brachiocephalic. Now you have to know that this branch will turn into the arch and further formation of the aorta, and this on the right side, this branch will form the brachiocephalic artery. Clear, friends? So these two arteries are the common carotid arteries. Common carotid arteries, right and left. Now moving further, they will divide into external and internal carotid arteries like this. Clear? So this is a very simplified diagram. If I draw this diagram here from anterior posterior view, it will be like this. Clear? Here are the two aorti, right? And other will be on that side. Let me make it also. So from here, from the aortic sac, 6 branches arise and they move to posteriorly and connect to the aorti, right? So these are those 6 branches. So this is the anterior view and this is the anterior posterior view, right? This is aortic sac. Now let's move forward. The aortic sac gives of 6 branches, okay? Third branch, third arch or third branch gives rise to common carotid arteries, right? Or we can also, these branches we can also write as arches, right? So the third arch gives of common carotid arteries. Clear? Okay, so just to know about the formation of these carotid arteries, common carotid arteries, if someone asked, so our answer is that, and during the gestational period, the common carotid arteries are formed by the third arch of this aortic sac, right? This is enough about its embryology, right? Now one thing more we have to mention here, that what is carotid sheath? Carotid sheath. So it is a sheath which surround, for example, look carefully, if I'm holding these markers in my hand, right? So these are the main vessels. These are the main vessels of the head and neck, and around these vessels my hand is surrounded. So my hand is a carotid sheath. It is a fibroalveolar tissue around the main vessels of the neck. Clear, friends? So what is carotid sheath? It is a carotid sheet represented by my hand, and these which I am holding in my hand are those arteries which are the main vessels of the neck, right? So carotid sheet is a fibroalveolar tissue which surrounds the vessels of the neck, right? So what is carotid sheet? It is a fibroalveolar tissue which surrounds main vessels of neck region. Main vessels, right? Now I will draw the diagram, then I will show the main vessels also. What does this carotid sheet contains? It contains internal jugular vein, right? It contains common and internal carotid arteries, right? Okay, common and internal carotid arteries and vagus nerve also. Vagus nerve. Now let me make its diagram here. For example, if this is the carotid sheet, right? It is a fibroalveolar tissue. Okay, from inside it contains the carotid artery, right? This is the carotid artery. Then it contains the jugular vein, right? This is the jugular vein, and then it also contains the vagus nerve. This is the vagus nerve, right? So this sheet, this fibroalveolar sheet which surrounds these main vessels of the neck, this sheet is called the carotid sheet. Clear, friends? Very good. The next thing is the bifurcation point of the common carotid artery. Bifurcation point of common carotid artery, right? So at which point this common carotid artery bifurcates? Now look carefully, I am drawing another diagram here. For example, friends, this is our aortic arch, right? So from this aortic arch there is a branch, and this branch is called the brachiocephalic artery. Then here is a branch, and this branch is called the left subclavian artery. And then here is a branch, and this branch is called the left common carotid artery. When it moves forward, it gives a branch, and this branch is called the right common carotid artery, and then the right subclavian artery. We are not going to discuss that. Our aim is to show the bifurcation point of this common carotid artery. This is the left common carotid artery, this is the right common carotid artery. Now at a specific point, this artery gives branches, two branches, and it bifurcates. Bifurcation means it divides, right? It divides into internal carotid artery and external carotid artery. This is the common carotid artery, right? So this is the left common carotid artery, and this one is the right common carotid artery. Clear, friends? Now look carefully. This one becomes external carotid artery on the right side also, right external carotid artery, left external carotid artery, and this one becomes the internal carotid artery, or you can say left internal carotid artery and right internal carotid artery. Now this is the point of bifurcation, right? The point of division of the common carotid artery. So common carotid artery divides into internal and external carotid artery at this specific point, and this specific point is present right at the level of upper border of thyroid cartilage, right? So here we have thyroid cartilage, this is our thyroid cartilage, for example. This is not a correct diagram. So the bifurcation occurs right at the level of upper border of the thyroid cartilage. Okay, at level of upper border of thyroid cartilage. Okay, this is the bifurcation point of this common carotid artery. Clear, friends? Very good. Now let's move forward and discuss more about the common carotid artery. Okay, friends. One thing more, friends, which is very important, this bifurcation point. Okay, this will be enough. Just leave it. Bifurcation point. Clear. Now, moving forward, branches of external carotid artery, right? What's new? That is the, it will be right here as external carotid artery branches. Okay, for one thing more, friends, let's little bit about this external carotid artery. External carotid artery bifurcates or is present, it is present anteriorly to, I will show you in the diagram, it is present anteriorly to internal carotid artery, right? Internal carotid artery. Okay, what is its course? Let's follow this artery course. Okay, so this carotid artery or this external carotid artery begins in the carotid triangle. It begins in carotid triangle. I will draw the diagram now. Then where does it begin? Bifurcation point from the previous what we said. You remember that we know that bifurcation occurs at the level of thyroid, upper border of thyroid cartilage, right? So it begins in the carotid triangle, okay, at upper border of thyroid cartilage. Okay, now let's compare it to the vertebrae. Opposite to it begins at the level of thyroid cartilage, opposite to third and fourth cervical discs, right? Third and fourth cervical discs. Now let's make the diagram here. Okay, I will show you anterior posterior level. Right, now look. Here is the aortic arch, right? Here is, I will follow one of them. Here is the common carotid artery, right? Common carotid artery moves up and it divides into internal and external carotid artery. Now look carefully. Here is a triangle which is called the carotid triangle. Clear, friends? So look carefully. The neck region is divided into many triangles, but one of them is the carotid triangle, because in this carotid triangle the carotid arteries are present. So I have written here, it begins in the carotid triangle. At the upper border of, here is the thyroid cartilage, right? So if this is the thyroid cartilage, so it begins at the upper border of thyroid cartilage. If you look posteriorly, there will be the discs of, disc means if this is one vertebra and this is other vertebra, and between these vertebrae there are cartilages, and these are called the intervertebral discs, right? So here will be the discs of the third and fourth cervical vertebrae. For example, if this is the third one and this is the fourth one, so external carotid artery will begin from here, right? This will be internal, so this is the external. So look, it begins opposite to the third and fourth cervical discs, right? Posteriorly there are cervical discs, anteriorly there will be the division, right? So the third and fourth cervical vertebrae discs, there is the origin point for the external carotid artery. Very good. It is like this. Look carefully. This is the common carotid artery, right? Okay. Now this common carotid artery will give a branch like this. Okay. Clear? So moving further, this is the external and this will become the internal carotid artery. It comes like this. Okay, so I have written here, it is present anteriorly to the internal carotid artery. So this is internal carotid artery, and this one is the external carotid artery. So look, if you look anteriorly from this side, it will be the external carotid artery, so it is present anteriorly through to the internal carotid artery. Now let's discuss about its branches. Friends, four groups of branches arise from this external carotid artery. And what are those four groups? There are some arteries which arise anteriorly, right? So I'm writing here as anterior branches, right? Anterior branches. Okay. What are those anterior branches which arise from the external carotid artery? There are three branches which arise from the anterior aspects of this external carotid artery. These are, the first one is the superior thyroidal artery, superior thyroid artery. We will discuss each artery and their course, inshallah, right? Then there is the lingual artery, right? Lingual artery. And the third one is the facial artery. Facial artery. These three branches arise from the anterior aspects of this external carotid artery. Now there are the posterior branches also. Posterior branches. What are those branches which arise from the posterior parts or aspects of the external carotid artery? There are two branches which arise from the external posterior part of this external carotid artery, and these are the first one is the occipital artery. Occipital artery. Then the second one is the posterior auricular artery. Posterior auricular artery. Okay, these two are the posterior branches of the external carotid artery. Then there are medial branches. Medial branch. So medial branch is only one branch, that is called ascending pharyngeal artery. Pharyngeal artery. Okay, and then the last one, that is the terminal branches. Clear, friends? So terminal branches are the maxillary branches. There are two terminal branches, and these are the maxillary artery, and the second one is superficial temporal artery. Superficial temporal or temporal artery. Right, friends. So how many total branches arise from this external carotid artery? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Total 8 branches arise from external carotid artery. Right. Okay, dear friends, this was about some important points regarding the external carotid artery. Some basic things about the external carotid artery we recorded in this lecture. Now, as I told you that we are recording about the circulatory system and all those blood supply of different all organs, inshallah I will record, and the tissues of the body. Now we have started from the head region and we will move down. Inshallah we will record all the branches. Now this was about the external carotid artery, some important points regarding it and its branches. So friends, in the next coming lectures we will record about each artery, each branch of the external carotid artery, and to where do they supply oxygenated blood. Right? So be with us, don't go anywhere. If you like our lectures, friends, it's a humble request that please do share our videos, do subscriptions, like our videos, and if you have some suggestions for us, please write in comment section for me so that I will act according to your suggestions. Thank you so much.